Hey y'all, and welcome back to Key's Kitchen Part 2 of Cooking Essentials. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about baking essentials. So for all my baking lovers out there, for all my aspiring bakers, and if you just love looking at baked good, this video is for you. But before I go any further, like and subscribe to my channel, okay? I don't just make these videos for kicks and giggles. Honestly, I do, because I be kicking and giggling myself. But yeah, so please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm so happy that you're here watching today. You kind of know, if you've watched part 1, my cooking kitchen essentials, this is part 2 where I share my baking essentials. So these are just a few basic things that I always kind of grab or look to when I'm baking anything, or when I'm trying to like bake something unique, or just out of the box, or just random. I'm typically using a mix of some of these things. So let's just jump right into it. I'm just going to start describing the things that you see and why I use them and why I think they're essential. So to start off with, the most basic one is butter. I know this is more of an ingredient than like a utensil or something, but if you want to cook anything, you're going to need you some butter, and lots of it. Especially if you're testing recipes, trial and error, you're going to need butter. A lot of recipes call for a cup of butter, which is 2 sticks. So in this 4-pack, you've already used half of it. I would recommend getting unsalted butter. I know you see salted here. This is really all I had in my fridge, but unsalted butter is best. I typically just like buy these in bulk, and I'll put them in my freezer, so whenever I feel like testing, or I get that sweet tooth, if you know that I just need something sweet. That's me all day. So whenever that happens, give me some unsalted butter, go make some cookies, whip up a little cake, little mini peach cobbler, whatever's on my heart. So butter is an essential. Next one is salt. So I know you're like, what? Baking? Salt? I don't need salt. No, you need salt, because what you don't know is that the salt actually not only balances the sweetness, so that it's not like, oh my God, but it also enhances some of that flavor. So I always tell people, salt is your friend. Salt enhances flavor. Now, too much salt overpowers whatever you're doing, and then it can be salty. But if you use the right amount of salt, it enhances the flavor that you're putting into whatever it is. So get you some salt. And typically recipes are calling for 1 teaspoon, a 1/4 teaspoon, not a lot, but this was like $1 at Walmart. So I'm like, why would I buy the small $3 one when I can buy this big Walmart brand one? I don't care. Salt is salt to me. Next essential is vanilla extract. So almost every recipe I make calls for some type of vanilla. If that's not the base of the flavor, then I won't use this, but vanilla extract is good. I know that vanilla extract is also expensive, but this is, I believe, this is an 8 fluid ounce bottle, and I think it was maybe, I don't know, maybe $8 to $13 at Walmart. I'm not sure, but it has lasted me a while, because again, just like the salt, most recipes are only calling for 1 teaspoon, 1/4 teaspoon, whatever the case is, of vanilla extract. Sometimes if I'm feeling a little on the frugal side, I will get imitation vanilla. There's nothing wrong with it, but typically that's if I'm making something for myself, or I'm putting something together really quickly. But if I'm baking something with the intention of sharing it with others or giving it to others, I always go for the real thing. Next, cinnamon. So a lot of recipes that I use call for cinnamon, and as you can see, I use a lot of it. So I love cinnamon. It's good for snickerdoodles, pound cakes. I even sometimes sprinkle a little cinnamon on my cornbread. I like sweet cornbread. I don't know, I like it. If you don't, sorry. I didn't really grow up in the South, so savory cornbread is not really the best to me, but cinnamon, I love that. Next, flour, sugar. So if you don't know, those are definitely essentials for baking. Almost everything I bake calls for flour. Now, you need some type of flour. You need something that's going to make it desserty. Like, this is flour for me. Sugar, I have brown sugar here, and then I also have white sugar. So depending on what I'm making, I'm either using a mix of the two, one of the two, or heavy on one, light on the other. So like my sugar cookies, I would probably only use all white sugar. But with the cinnamon roll cookies I just made, I did a mix of brown sugar and white sugar. So I think it's important to have either on stock if you want to make something sweet, because what's something sweet without sugar? I actually don't know. I guess fruit, but don't fruit make its own type of natural sugars? Probably. I don't know. God knows. He'll probably tell me later, or I can Google it, or both. Anyways, next, Baker's Joy. This really is just baking spray, so it can be Baker's Joy, it can be Pam, but spray this with your pan. You throw a little flour. This the flour, that's the sugar. You throw a little flour in it, you know, pat it all over, boom, non-stick. So I use a lot of this. As you can see, this pound cake on here. When I make my pound cakes, when I make brownies, muffins, any of those things, I'm like it's smoking in here, because I'm like, I don't want nothing sticking. When I take this out, it need to glide out, you know. So Baker's Joy, I love this. And then other two essentials, baking powder and baking soda. So those are so important if you want your recipe to rise or do any of those type of things. You need some baking powder or baking soda. I say get both, even if you have a very specific recipe in mind and you're like, I just want to make this and this recipe only needs baking powder. If you're at the store, just get both. These are also Walmart brand. I think they were maybe like $1 each. Get them both, because eventually you're going to make that Key's Kitchen recipe so good that you're like, I want to try another one, and that other one is probably going to need one or the other or both of these. So just get both of them. Next essential is a rolling pin, and so this is really essential depending on what you make. So I make a lot of cinnamon rolls. I like to make pies and pie crust. So if you want to do that in the future, I think a rolling pin is so essential. I also use this if I'm making like something with Oreos in it. I would like bang I'll bang the cookies with these. Don't be like me, or you can, I don't really care. You be like Jesus, honestly. Don't be like me, for real, be like Jesus. But I meant that. I use a rolling pin for all those different things. This is actually a nice heavy one. My manager got me this. She's the best ever, and I love it so much. So thank you. Yeah, a rolling pin. Next essential is a hand mixer. So a lot of my recipes, I actually use a stand mixer. I do have a KitchenAid, but I know that KitchenAids are fairly expensive. Stand mixers also are on the more expensive side. They can cost you up to maybe like $75+. I know my KitchenAid was maybe like $250 plus. I'm not quite sure, but a hand mixer will literally do the job. So this hand mixer is like, you turn it, you plug it in, and then you change the setting, and it usually comes with these type of hooks. So this is like a regular mixing bean, and then mine also comes with a dough hook. So if you're making like a cinnamon roll dough, bread, something like that. It also came with a whisk, but I broke it. So it was cool though, because it spun really fastly, but obviously it was so cool that I overused it and broke it. Yeah, that's okay. I'm just put this. So I think that's an essential, especially for recipes that call you to cream or beat the butter into something. A lot of my recipes, I do cream the sugar and butter together, and I did that by hand one time, and I'm only going to ever do that by hand hopefully one time. When I tell y'all that was a workout, like I was in the kitchen like trying to beat that butter and sugar together, and it was so hard. So get you a hand mixer, cut out all that hard work, and boom, 3 minutes later versus 10 minutes later like me. So hand mixer. This is a circle pan. I don't think I really have to explain that, but a circle pan and a rectangle pan, I think these are essentials. If you want to bake cakes, get you a circle pan, sister or brother. Or this is good for also rectangular cakes, brownies, pineapple upside down cake, different things like this. So I think any type of cake pans, super essential if you want to get into baking. Just have these on deck. Yikes. Also a cupcake pan, I think that's essential as well. You can also buy these like at 6 counts. So if you're like, bruh, I live by myself, I'm not finna make 12 of nothing. They actually sell these like smaller too. I don't know where, but I know that they do, because I had one, then I threw it away because I got this beaut. So cupcake pan, you can get cupcake liners, or you can spray her down and then you don't need a cupcake liner, but cupcake liners are cute. Fun fact, you can also make liners with parchment paper. I might show you that on another video, but sometimes when I make my muffins, it's really cute. So yeah, Anyways, so yeah, cupcake pan, super essential. And then the classic cookie sheet. I love me a good cookie sheet. It's literally what it sounds like. Like, I bake my cookies on these. I love it. I know this is a baking video, but sometimes I put my bacon on this. My garlic bread. Sometimes I put stuff like that on here if I'm making it real quick. But yeah, cookie sheets are really good if you just want to heat something up in the oven. You know, that leftover pizza, put it in. Cookie sheet, put some foil on top. Cookie sheet, making cookies, put some parchment paper. Cookie sheet. So I really love my cooking sheet. Utensils, a sifter. So I think that a sifter is so important. So this sifter, you just put it in, you do like that, and then it's sifted. Sifting is meant to make something finer. It makes it easier to mix, gives it a smoother blend. So a lot of my recipes, I sift my flour, and sometimes when I make my icings, I also sift the powdered sugar to help it just mix better, less clumps, all those different things. So I got this literally at the $1.25 store. So yeah, it's super cheap. Get you one. They also have one where you can like do like this. You hold it and you, if you know what I'm saying. You can get that too. Either or will work. I have both. Why? Because I'm extra. Why? I don't know. That's how God made me. So I have both. A spatula. I think a spatula is so important to scrape your sides. You want to be able to scrape your sides. A lot of my recipes I say, and scrape the sides of the bowl. And scrape the sides of the bowl. Because you want all the ingredients mixed in there. Fun and fair. So you need this. You also need a whisk. A whisk is also super important. If you want to make something just on the side really quick, whisk it together. You want to whisk if you want to be baking. In addition to a stand mixer, I would say have both. And then I also have these lovely mixing bowls. So I showed these in my cooking essentials, kitchen essentials video, but these are also essential for baking. So sometimes I'll like beat my eggs in a little one, and then I'll mix my dry ingredients in one, and then I'll mix my wet ingredients in another one. And I like to be able to portion them out in different places, or sometimes if I'm making a new recipe, I like to have everything in front of me. So I'll put the vanilla extract and the eggs in one bowl, and I'll put the flour in one bowl, and I'll put the sugar here so that I make sure I know how I'm measuring everything and all that good stuff. Speaking of measuring, I forgot two more important things. Measuring cups. So if you want to be a baker, oh, how can I forget this? If you want to be baking anything in your kitchen, you need you some measuring cups, okay? So this is measuring cups. These are measuring spoons. Let me get you another. This is also a measuring cup. So if you were ever wondering what's the difference between this one and this one is used for liquid ingredients and this one is used for dry. So that's the difference. If it says 1/4 cup of milk, use this. If it says 1/4 cup of flour, use this. If it says 1/4 cup of oil, use this. If it says 1/4 cup of sugar, use this. Try to say 1/4 cup 5 times really fast. 1/4 cup, 1/4 cup, 1/4 cup, 1/4 cup, it don't work. So if you can do it, DM me and I'll send you some clapping emojis. Yay! Okay, so measuring cups, super important, as well as measuring spoons. One thing that I admire about baking is that it's really hard to mess it up because it's so specific. Like if it says 1 cup of flour, you better scoop that 1 cup, level it off, and put 1 cup of flour, because any more or any less, it could really turn a recipe upside down. And so I love that, but I also hate that about baking. I love that because it's like, okay, once I know exactly what to do, I can do it consistently every single time. Versus with cooking, I can make it like this one time and then the next time it don't come out exactly the same. But baking, you typically don't have those problems. But that's also the one thing I hate about it, because if I'm following a recipe and I follow it to a T and it still don't come out right, I'm like, is it me? It can't be me. It got to be a recipe because I followed it exactly like they said so. So those are super important. Make sure you're measuring things accurately. Baking is not really the place where you want to freestyle too much to an extent. Definitely be creative and have fun, but as much as you can, try to stay in the bounds of the recipe. And then last but not least, if you can see, I have this baking sheet here. And so what this is what I use to like roll out dough if I'm making a pie crust. It has different measurements on here, and I mean, you don't need all those different things. I'm just telling y'all what it is. I actually got this from my aunt. Shout out my aunt Star. She got it from Home Goods, and so I really love it because one, it has these like circles on it, and like if I'm making a pie crust and I want it to be a specific size, I could do that. Super cool. Also with my cinnamon rolls, I typically like measure out how long I'm doing the roll and things like that, so I really love that. I think it's an essential, especially if you don't have a lot of kitchen counter space. That's a really good way to be able to maximize your space. You can roll out your dough on that. If you don't have an island, you can put it on one of these and just really maximize your space, minimize your mess, because all the flour and all the crumbs are on the thing. When it's over, brush it off in the trash can and wash it off in the sink. So thank y'all so much for watching my baking essentials video. If there's anything that you feel like I missed, feel free to comment below. Share this with your friends, with your family, with your aunties, with your aunts, whoever you want to, the saints, the ain'ts, the knots, the wops. Who cares? Share the video with them. Thank y'all again for watching Key's Kitchen. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, I'll see y'all.